All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a brand new edition of Pod by the BAE. I'm your host, Nathan Bond. Joined alongside me, Seth Varnadore. Robert Steeg is out this evening, taking in a play at the Straz. So we're going to two-man weave it. We've got a lot of thoughts as your South Florida Bulls fall to 4-5 after a pretty convincing, some would say sometimes demoralizing, 28-7 loss to Navy on homecoming. The Bulls did not look good on offense, Seth, and it was a tough hang inside the stadium.
No, and then you look at I had to do some. I was otherwise engaged during most of the game, so I didn't get to see a ton of it live. So you go back and look at the stats, you're like, oh, okay. Then you kind of see, oh, it looks like they had the ball down on the other side of the 50 quite a few times. What happened? And it just seemed like a game, and you can tell me how accurate this is. It seems like a game with a lot of missed opportunities. And like you go back and you're like, oh well, were they really bad on third down? They ended up 8-16. It's like, well, so what happened? And turnover. We talked like last week. You can't turn the ball over against Navy. Like you've got to get turnovers from them. Otherwise, you're giving them extra possessions to kind of grind the game down.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I think the first quarter was somewhat indicative of like of how the game was going to go. Navy goes down and scores. You go down, throw a pick. Navy, you get the ball twice in the first quarter, and then that's it. Like it's so I don't know. It seemed like missed opportunities in a few spots, and some. We'll have a film room later this week, but just some busts up front kind of killed some of the passing game stuff, and then Bryce Archie had a couple forced throws that I think really came back to hurt him.
Yeah, it was a game of missed opportunities. Alex Golish said in his Tuesday press conference there were 60 missed assignments on offense and defense.
Wow.
Against a triple offense, a triple team. That's not great because they will gash you, and you saw that with the first touchdown drive. You got them blocked up, and then you didn't. I think it was fourth. I want to say it was fourth down or close to fourth down. It was 3rd and inches. They convert. It's 1st and 10 from the 40, and they gash you for a 60-yard touchdown run. This is not how you want to play football. And then you get down the field, you drive down, and then Bryce Archie throws maybe one of the worst red zone interceptions I've seen in a very, very long time. It was not great. I don't know if the Navy defender had a ghillie suit on and just never saw him. I like
future SEAL.
I mean, in character. I don't understand like what he saw. It still doesn't make any sense to me. Navy goes down, scores again, and then punt, turnover on downs, and then shout out to the defense because, good Lord, they played their ass off the entire game, especially in that second quarter where the offense was just sputtering. Like taking a look at the drive chart for USF. So you have the interception down the red zone, 3 and out, 7 plays, turnover on downs. 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, and then you throw another interception to end the half. That interception is converted into maybe the back-breaking play of the game.
Yeah,
that 38-yard little pass play to the fullback scampers in for a touchdown, and that was it. I believe there was like 12 seconds left, or just about.
Yeah, I think there was 2 seconds when he scored.
Yeah. So, 14 seconds left from their 47, and they go in real quick and score. Now you're down 21-0, and you're really chasing the game.
Yeah.
Then your first possession of the second half, you win the toss, you defer because you want to take that extra possession in the second half, and you go 3 and out. And then basically it's just Navy holding serve and then they finally get a back-breaking 13-play, 87-yard touchdown drive late in the third quarter. That carries over to the fourth. A 7-minute drive, and that ices the game for you. And you get a meaningless touchdown.
Yeah.
Almost like not quite a sad field goal, but like a sad touchdown
with the full, celebration. Tough luck.
Oh, vey. I mean, whatever. You kind of figured if you turn the ball over, you've played sloppy against this team. The Navy the last 2 weeks was not the Navy that we had seen this entire season, where they lost to Rice in a very weird rain delay game and then get absolutely smacked by Notre Dame.
Yeah.
This Navy team's good. They do a lot of things well. Blake Horvath is a good quarterback, and he's perfect for the triple. And he showed once again. I think he's only played like maybe a game and a half against USF, and he has like 4 touchdowns. He's like near perfect passer rating. Like he's just kind of diced up this USF team and his spots over the last couple seasons. Thank God there's not another triple team on the schedule, because I don't know if this team would survive it much longer. The team's banged up. No Doug Blue Eli this week. I think Bernard Gooden went out. I mean, it was just we'll talk about that in Ponderosa, but less than ideal for your South Florida Bulls. The offense was not very good. And it's so strange, and maybe not really strange when you think about the level of competition that they played over the last couple of weeks. It's clear UAB and FAU are like bottom of the barrel.
Yes.
AAC teams. But 2.4 yards a carry for this offense when you have 3 capable backs it's an abomination. There's no two ways about it. The offensive line was getting blown off the ball by much smaller guys. And it was a tough, like I said, it was a tough hang inside the stadium. Don't really know how else to put it.
And then you get a nice explosive run, and going to have a face mask tacked on at the end, get you some momentum, and you get a holding call like by a receiver. It's like it was just seemed like one of those games where they could never quite get it figured out. Going back and watching, there's a bunch of sacks, but there's like some times where it's like 3rd and 5, and every receiver's running off the screen, and you're getting blitzed, and the quarterback's getting hit. It's like, I don't know. It's hard to see. Maybe somebody broke right off the edge of the screen, but it didn't seem like a lot of quick throws built into what seemed to be a Navy team that brought pressure quite a bit and did some things to kind of confuse the USF pass protection. And that's what going to be like a big part of the film room that should be coming out tomorrow on the Patreon for the little Ponderosa film room there. It wasn't anything crazy, but I think when your quarterback's not a run threat, and especially Archie pulls the one and gets a big gain on it, but if the one he pulls, Navy's blitzing 2 guys off the edge because like whatever, he's not gonna like if the quarterback's not a threat, like good teams are gonna just be able to kill the run just formationally and because they don't have to worry about the quarterback. So when that guy doesn't pull it, it can really hurt the run game, and he pulls it one time and goes for 35. That's great, but
goes for 35, nets 15 on the game.
Yeah, so it was one of those kind of games. So kind of the exact inverse of the FAU game, where protected really well, ran the ball. And this Navy defense wasn't exactly like unbelievable against the run either. It's just they kind of were able to scheme you up a little bit, I think, and take that away.
Yeah, like I said, they got to get something figured out. Naquan Wright, 3.3 yards a carry. Kelly Jordan, 2.6. Teron Keith, 2.8. It was just not a good time had by all offensively. Keyshawn Singleton continues to be, I guess, a bright spot. Young guy, 5 catches, 58 yards on 7 targets. Josh Porter, 3 for 17. Brandon Witten, 3 for 14. Jaquan finally caught a couple of deep balls, but then he got caught from behind. So now I'm wondering, okay, does he have 10
He got tripped up. I mean, that's verified speed.
I mean,
he got tripped up.
Couple more of those. So we just gotta continue to do it. My guy Evan Dangler had just an absolute piss missile go straight through his arms. Like it touches not. Bryce Archie doesn't have a changeup.
Yeah.
So
he can touch 90. He can touch 96 and with a football too. Apparently,
apparently can only get the 91, 92 with the baseball, but football he is cranking that thing.
He's touching 96, baby.
I mean, good Lord. Defensively, I mean, like this was as good of a game as you could have hoped for. Like 2 really busted plays, right? You give your offense a chance. Like you typically have maybe 10 drives offensively in a game against Navy or Army or anything like that. Let me get the final number for USF. But USF had 12 drives. Like that is an above average amount of drives, and you weren't able to capitalize. After the 2 touchdowns for Navy in the first quarter, fumble, punt, and then at the end of the second quarter, that touchdown. Like you've got to be able to do something when your defense is standing on its freaking head to stop this triple.
And if you were, and that's just, I think that the touchdown at the end of the half was a real, like you said, a backbreaker. But like if you're able to get a stop there, you're going, because you start the second half with 2 punts as well. So you have like a streak where you've got plenty of chances to make up the margin there.
Right.
And you go and look kind of at the drive stats in the game. I think Steve posted in the Ponderosa kind of after the game who punted more. And it was Navy, I think, punted more in the game. But you go look at the drive stats. Average yards gained for a Navy drive was 28 yards. For USF, offensively, average yards gained was 29 to drive. But Navy was able to go hit some explosives and punch some scores in where USF was unable to do so. So I thought it was definitely a winning effort from the defense. Yeah. Outside of really, I think the one you could be like, okay, that the play right at the end of the half is one that you may have busted on, and maybe you're trying to be too aggressive. But outside of that, I mean, these teams are, when we're running the triple, these teams are going to get theirs.
Oh,
but if you can kind of limit it to 21 points instead of the first one, that's got to be I picked the over last week because I'm like, Navy's going to get theirs, but offensively, USF should be able to get theirs too, and they were not. So,
yeah, I mean, just kind of looking at time of possession, Navy had 17 more minutes of time of possession. The thing that killed USF, points off of turnovers. 3 turnovers for USF. Navy scored twice on them. Really, it was a 21-point swing because you're going in to drive on that first one, going in to score on that first one. You're at least getting 3, and you can't do it. And then I'll let you guess who was complaining about kicking a field goal on that turnover on downs early in the first half in the press box. But like a field goal was going to do no good to this team in this game.
Yeah.
Like okay, so now you're down 14-3. Congratulations, you made a 2-score game.
And this is when we talked about this last week in kind of our preview of Navy, that this would be one where you probably see goalers go for it on 4th down more because possessions are usually at such a premium.
Yep.
And when you don't convert, like it's basically turnovers, right? So, it was just. And I think that's probably the biggest frustration with the team this year and why people are so kind of out of whack with the expectations and the team meeting expectations. Because most people thought before the season, okay, well, the offense is going to be good. So if the defense can just get better, the team will be much better. The defense has gotten better, but the offense has been terrible this season. And so I think that's why you see so many people kind of nervous. I mean, you're starting to see a part of the fan base, a fringe part of the fan base, but part of the fan base fire goalish, and it's really, I think the frustration is just the defense has gotten better, but your offense has gotten so much worse when you expected that to be the strength of the team.
Yeah.
And, the thought was if the offense just was kind of kept that improvement we saw towards the end of the last season and the defense got a little bit better, the team would be really good. Defense has gotten better, but just have not been able. Now injuries have been part of that, but that's kind of the biggest frustration I think a lot of people have with the team is where's the offense improvement, or where's kind of the offense we just thought we were going to see coming into the season.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up right now, but USF defensively, I mean, they're allowing under 30 points a game. Like that, that's damned impressive compared to what they've been over the last 6 years. I mean, it's been a really long time. Let me pull this up. And they were the USF defense is also allowing 4.2 yards a carry. Like that is also really good compared to where they were. So like all of these things would lead you to believe that, hey man, this team is going to be really good. And the one thing that we had questions about have been kind of answered. And I get the fan frustration, but also your quarterback missed 4 games and you went 2-2 and you still have a chance to go to a bowl game and 7-5. Like I get the frustration, but we've got to take it with a grain of salt. You've got to look at the whole picture here and what this team was over the Jeff Scott era, the end of the Charlie Strong era. Like, take a chill pill sometimes, guys. Just holistically, I think that the big difference compared to this year, last year, defense giving up 4 fewer points per game, but the offense is also averaging 6 fewer points per game. They're averaging just over 25. They were averaging over 31 last season. 4.1 yards a carry offensively and defensively. I feel like the defense has been a lot better against the run this year comparatively. And then average per pass is down this season. Like all of the metrics, all of the counting numbers that you want to see are down. So it's just kind of frustrating. I'm hoping that there's a spark in the offense this week for reasons that we'll talk about in the Ponderosa. But I don't know. I overall, I think they're moving in the right direction 80% of the time. Just this offense needs to get out of reverse sometimes.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned the defense against the run. They're 26th in the country in defensive success rate against the run. They're 38th in EPA per rush. They're really much better defensive. Like all these, it was all in the hundreds previously for the most part. Last year's success rate was okay, but the explosiveness was really out of whack. This year's been better. So, yeah, I think that is kind of the frustration. Okay, the defense took their step forward. If the offense would have just maintained from last season, you're feeling pretty good. Like if the offense kind of just was maintained from last season, I feel like you got a pretty good chance to win that game last week.
Yeah.
But, and so I think that's where you get a lot of frustration because that's, an 8-4 type season or, maybe, even against like Memphis, if you had your full complement and your offense was like what you got last year, that was winnable one. So 9-3 now you're talking, AAC championship game type stuff, but
right,
just hasn't been there. I think that's the frustrating part for people is they thought, okay, we that's like set it and forget it. The offense is going to be good, and it just hasn't been.
No, it has not. It's been a struggle, absolutely. Do you know the best solution to a struggling team?
Playing Charlotte.
Playing Charlotte, Seth. USF travels up to Charlotte on Saturday. Charlotte is 3-6, 2-3 in the American. The game's on ESPN Plus at 3:30. I don't usually go over who's like calling the game, but Justin Kutcher Don't know who that is. Reggie
Relate to
Walker.
Ashton?
But the sideline guy, his name is Smacker Miles. That's the only reason I bring this up. What a name. Smacker Miles is the sideline reporter for this game on Saturday. Charlotte's been brutal. If you're in the Ponderosa, you've heard the stories that I've got.
Never. Do you know what Smacker Miles looks like?
Oh my! Is he white? Oh my God! Please be white.
Oh, come on! I'm trying to get this picture to pull up. Hold on. Let me show you Smacker Miles. This is Smacker Miles.
No way.
Was a swimmer at Texas.
For those folks who are
a white lady,
a white lady named Smacker Miles. You could have given me 10,000 guesses.
and a sketch artist.
There's no a white lady from that swam at Texas. No shot I would have guessed that.
Oh, hold on.
Is there another?
Hold on. No.
Oh, okay.
Do you know who her dad is?
Is it Darius Miles?
Les Miles.
Interesting. Why did I go Darius?
I really don't know. I just showed you the picture.
God can hope. It would make it funnier.
So her real name, I think her real name is Catherine, possibly. So is this the kid? Is this the kid that Les Miles, before some bad stuff, was like playing basketball against in the driveway and like smack talking and like blocking shots against?
It's probably.
Wasn't that one of his daughters he was playing basketball against?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Lord,
anyway,
we're old.
We are old. Holy cow. So Charlotte, tire fire. If you're in the Ponderosa, your boy has some sources up at Charlotte. It has not been great. They are the losers of 3 straight. They got smacked by Navy, played close against Memphis, and then got absolutely destroyed by Tulane on Halloween night. That is the last time they've played. So by the time this game happens, they'll have had about 16 days off because of their bye week. I would expect some interesting things. Their quarterbacks still suck. Biff Poggi is, I think, on his heels. Like, there's just nothing good has happened for this Charlotte team, and I don't expect that to change on Saturday. Just do want to kind of shout out. I don't know if shout out's the way to put it, but like last week, we told you about the Eli Heidenreich, and boy, how did that pay off in spades. So a couple of guys to kind of keep an eye on. They've got a couple of running backs that are halfway decent. Hold on. Let me pull this up. Getting used to the MacBook. It literally just went back to the next page. So hold on.
Cartavius Norton,
90 carries, 412 yards, 4.6 yards a carry, 4 touchdowns. Hashawn Wilson, 64 carries, 431 yards, averaging 6.7 yards a carry, 6 touchdowns. Those are the 2 guys on the ground that need to be basically mindful of. The quarterback play has been an absolute disaster for them. Like, if you thought the USF quarterback play has been bad, let me show you Charlotte. Deshaun Purdy is, I guess, their most effective passer. He's completing 55% of his passes, 935 yards, 5 touchdowns, 3 picks. Max Brown, the Florida transfer, he looked good against, was it Florida State last year that he came in and played?
Yeah, I think he had a good drive early.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad after that.
Under 47% completion percentage, 3 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. I think, and then there's Trexler Ivy, he feels he's been in the league for quite a while. Like that, he feels like he's been around for a minute. Looking at let me pull up the box score for their last game against Tulane. Tulane had a 20-play, 80-yard field goal drive to start the game. It took up 11 minutes, and that's just kind of how the game went for Charlotte. So Deshaun Purdy was 5 of 12 for 66 yards. Max Brown was 2 of 10 for 3 yards. It was not pretty. It has not been fun for them. They ran 44 plays. I think they had 60 yards in the first half, and it wasn't much better in the second half. This team's really bad. Like, this is like what we talked about UAB. If USF loses this game, now we've got some questions that can be broached. That subject can be broached. But good Lord, this team is terrible.
Did you have a receiver named Omega Blake?
Omega Blake, that's a good one. Let's see, what's he done? He's actually had some halfway decent stats.
He's got 20 catches on 22 targets, 429 yards, 5 touchdowns.
22.4 yards a catch.
Yeah.
And he leads the team with 5 touchdowns. 5 of the 11 touchdowns that Charlotte's thrown have gone to him. Sean Brown has 24 catches, averaging a little over 10 yards a catch.
And he's got the most targets. So those two are the top 2 in targets by far. So Sean Brown and Omega Blake are each averaging, or Sean Brown leads the team with 23 targets. Omega Blake's is 22. Next closest is 16, 15, and 9. So those are kind of the 2 dudes you need to watch out for. Seems like Sean Brown is a chains mover, and Omega Blake is a little bit more explosive, but just looking at their yards per catch. But yeah,
you know your numbers are bad when they don't even put the percentage of third down conversions. It's 30%. And then on fourth down, they've gone for it on fourth down 21 times, but they've only converted 7 times. Like it's not pretty up in Charlotte. And then it's weird because they also beat Rice, which beat Navy. It's a weird thing.
They have some confusing victories early.
They do.
So I don't know what happened. They crushed ECU.
Yeah.
So
Was that the game that got Mike Houston fired?
Yeah, I mean, Charlotte won 55-24.
Like weird game. But
yeah,
outside, like, you got to be able to do something against this team. They're 2-2 at home, so that's nice. USF obviously beat them last season to clinch bowl eligibility for the first time since 2018.
Onside kick of their own.
Onside kick of their own. They haven't won since October 5th, that ECU game. Fun fact, it is homecoming for Charlotte this week. That, if you're keeping track at home, I believe that is 3 straight weeks with a team having a homecoming game that USF is involved in. So just keep that in mind. Is it weird that homecoming is in November when the season's almost over?
Yeah. It's usually an October-ish type thing. I know. It depends, I guess.
Yeah, it always threw me off because, obviously high school homecoming is like September, maybe early October. I think you're pushing it early October.
You get senior night. You want to leave some breathing room.
Yeah, you have homecoming, and then you're on the road at Florida Atlantic, and then senior night November 30th. Weird. But here we are. That's all I've got for this terrible game. Let's do our picks. I don't know if Steve got his pick in.
He did.
Oh, he did. Perfect. So
yes.
We'll go with him. Look at us, just under the wire. So the line is USF -3. The over-under is 53.5. Stieg is going under 53.5. Seth, what say you?
Well, last week I took the over. I thought the USF offense would come to play. This week I'm just taking USF. I don't think Charlotte is very good. 3 does not scare me. I think it could be by a lot more. So give me the Bulls -3. This would be kind of like Southern Miss. This could be alt line territory.
Interesting.
Was that
Interesting?
Look at us.
Alt line territory, you say? If you've been following along at home, I am a perfect 9-0 this season against the spread. The line is -3. USF -3 on the road with, if you're watching at home, backup quarterback. Give me the Bulls -3. Give me the alt line up to 10. I think the Bulls crush this team. They are not good. And I am staking my perfect record on USF showing up and just absolutely decimating this Charlotte team. And as we sit here, hopefully it did it. I think it did it. There we go. As we sit here, South Florida -3. It's in the books. I just don't see this team hanging with USF, even with how bad USF has looked on offense last week and at some points over the last month with Bryce Archie at quarterback. For now.
You can get DraftKings, former friend of the show, no longer enemy of the show now. USF by 19-24 is plus 1,100. 13-18 is plus 700. 7-12 is plus 475.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let's take a look as we wrap up here. Men's basketball beats the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff. I think it was 85-69 on Tuesday. It was the banner unveiling for the regular season conference title. It was the first home game inside the Yuengling Center since Amir Abdur-Rahim's untimely death. They renamed the student section after him. It was an emotional start to the game. There was a fight. 2 USF players got kicked out for leaving the bench area. A Pine Bluff kid got kicked out, and he was super emotional because he's from Orlando and he had a bunch of family there.
Oof.
And he got kicked out 5 minutes into the game, if I'm being generous. So tough break for him. But the Bulls, we move on. Game on Friday against versus West Georgia at the Yuengling Center. Win your bye games. It wasn't pretty at times, but shortened rotation. Jamil Reynolds didn't play. Coach's decision. Asked interim head coach Ben Fletcher about that. He's fine. Coach's decision. He's good. Then CJ Brown gets kicked out of the game. Jimmy Williams gets kicked out of the game. So now your short rotation is even shorter. There's a few spurts during that game where you kind of saw that the 5 guys on the floor, this may have been the first time they were on the floor together. The offense kind of bogged down a little bit. But you still win by 16. You win your clunkers, and you keep it moving. Honestly, any win this season's fine by me. It just unprecedented thing that is Like there's just no
No
two ways
precedence.
about it. There really isn't. Like thinking back, I was driving to the football game on Saturday, and I was just kind of thinking because I think Josh Lewis had I think he decommitted on Friday, um, if I'm not mistaken, and I was just kind of thinking like, has this happened before? Like a death? Like there's been retirements. Like Tony Bennett obviously retired. Um, Maybe a month before the season started, something like that, at Virginia. But they basically had the head coach in waiting on staff like the year prior, so that's not the same thing. Some abrupt retirements, but like just your head coach just straight up dying like a week before the season, like
Not real common.
not a common thing at all. So it's tough to kind of shake that off and kind of come back from it, but we'll see what happens. But here we go. We keep moving. But Seth, anything else that you want to add, plug, anything as we wrap up this episode of Pod by the Bay?
No, I'm just excited for a big game this weekend. If we get a big win and then get closer and closer to bowl eligibility, that'll always be fun. And then excited to see kind of the full strength basketball team once they get going, because I did watching them a little bit against Florida. I thought, I mean, they got some dudes that can play. So hopefully they don't get kicked out of any more games, and you can kind of see that all play.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, with that, be nice, be safe, enjoy your weekend. Go Bulls.
Go Bulls.